We're here at Mobile World Congress with Jerome Tollet, CTO of Cosmos. Jerome, what's the difference between SDN and NFV?
That's a very good question. SDN is all about providing an abstraction layer between the applications and the network. And NFV, it's about virtualization of the software embedded in networking equipment to make them run in virtual environment on COTS products. Both are actually very good opportunities to make the network more application aware.
But what does Cosmos mean by application-aware infrastructure?
Today, if you have a look at network intelligence and DPI, you will find it embedded in very different applications for telecom and data centers. That could be for security, for optimization, for quality of experience, and so on and so forth. In an application-aware infrastructure, application can gather layer 7 information directly from the network itself. A good example of that is OpenFlow. Today in OpenFlow, rules are based on layer 2 to layer 4 rules and criteria. In the future, there will be an OpenFlow virtual switch or switch will be able to have rules based on layer 7 criteria. Good example is you could have video steering where video is not described by IP addresses or TCP ports, but really by application. And based on an application, on the video flow, you decide to forward the traffic on a given port.
What are the benefits of embedding DPI in SDN and NFV for application-aware networks?
The first thing is that it can accelerate innovation, because instead of reinventing the wheel for each and every product, you could rely on existing DPI in the network so that you can have startups and smaller companies being able to deliver product for operators. That's one thing. Second thing is that you can have more efficient networks. Today, if you have a look at a typical mobile network, you will find not one, but probably 4 or 5 different DPI stacks. One for PCF, another one for reporting, a third one for video optimization, and so on and so forth. So that you are executing similar things several times. Now, if SDN and NFV do embed DPI directly, then application can rely on pre-computed results. So when the packets arrive in the network, you can tag it with DPI results, and these information are carried along the communication chain. And instead of re-executing CPU cycles to recompute DPI results, you rely on pre-computed results. That's a second thing. Then the third thing is that it simplifies the management. Today, it's very complex to manage networks. Now, if DPI is embedded in the network, you have standard APIs, you have a lot of standard things like OpenFlow protocol, VNFC, and so on and so forth. And I believe in the future, network will be made of a bunch of components connected with APIs as opposed to siloed products which are connected with specific proprietary protocols.
Why does NFV make it easy to leverage DPI?
I strongly believe that DPI is fundamentally a software technology as opposed to hardware, and NFV is all about software and virtualization. So I think at very high level this is tightly related. The second thing is that NFV comes with the concept of components, right? And DPI is a component in itself, and that's why at the ETSI we have been standardizing a new format which is called VNFC, which stands for Virtual Function Network Component. And DPI is a typical example of what could be a VNFC. Our proposal has been approved last June in Bonn, and I believe that we will have more and more DPI components in the future.
How does a DPI module integrated into a vSwitch make it easier to implement DPI?
If you're a network equipment provider, today, if you want to develop DPI, you will have to integrate DPI into your application, which is quite a complex operation. In the future, people will develop their application on top of an existing data plane. And this data plane could be a virtual switch with DPI inside. So as an application provider, you can rely on more advanced services provided by the virtual switch. This is what we want to do with this service-aware module. That's one thing. The second thing is that today a lot of DPI services are being executed at the edge of a data center, in the routers typically. But with NFV and SDN, we believe that these functions will move to the servers and DPI can be directly executed in the servers as opposed to the router. This is a value shift from the edge of the network to the servers. And that's a way to save a lot of money if you operate a data center. That's why we have released this new module called SAM, Service Aware Module, and we will more and more integrate it with open source software as well as with proprietary software.
Thanks, Jerome, for your time.
Thank you very much.